Let's do a thought exercise or a meditation if you choose to make it one. But let's think about when we feel vulnerable. The most common places I would think that we feel vulnerable is when we're using the bathroom or when we are being intimate with somebody. And we think about our lower chakra and how it is essentially about grounding and feeling safe and secure. And when that is not what is happening, it causes a lot of dysregulation, and we start to try to cope in different ways. Maybe you are feeling dysregulated or unsafe, and the way that you cope is by eating excessively or eating a bunch of sweets. Well, in that space, your gut is digesting this stuff, but the bacteria growing there becomes kind of callous in nature, I would say. And it makes you only crave things that are not good for you. But when we start to regulate ourselves and feel safer, we don't feel that need to constantly indulge and to get away from how we feel in our body and in our truth and in ourselves. And so we are working our way up. And so from that space of desire, which is what it is, because we desire food and whatnot as a comfort, but the desire goes deeper than that. The desire to be seen and to express yourself and to create the womb of creation. But our cravings dictate what we create, because if we are only listening to the cravings, then we don't allow ourselves time and space and energy to create. And so we continue working up, and we come to a place where we realize the reason that I felt unsafe is because my heart wasn't being seen or cherished, and I didn't want to create or feel things because it just hurt, and I wanted to numb it out with substances or food or sensation. And so we just block it out. But we are learning to forgive that and to realize that and to transmute it into a place where we can start to feel peace and love, and even love for the hard things and the things that hurt us, and to recognize that we would not be who we are now if we hadn't gone through the things that we have, and the capacity that our hearts have for love is equally reflected in the space that we felt the deepest hurt. And we continue to travel upward. And as we are feeling this healing in our heart towards ourselves and our lack of control over ourselves in whatever form that took. We also open our throat chakra because as we come to terms with these things, we start to be able to talk about them and to tell our truth and not to close up whenever challenged or whenever we feel insecure, but to recognize that truth brings freedom, and it allows us to open up on these other levels. And since we are grounded, and since we are not just listening to our bodies singularly, we can hear our heart, and we can speak our truth, and we can work our way up. And as we work our way up into our mind and into our third eye, we start to see the duality of life and the duality of human nature and of nature itself and of existing. And we start to see that everything is perfect and everything is imperfect, and that in itself is perfect, and that everything doesn't have to be fixed. The only thing that has to be fixed is our minds and our hearts and our intentions on what is good and what is kind and what is loving. And through doing that, we open the middle path and the path to our higher consciousness and ourselves. And we are able to find a way to be that grows us physically, spiritually, mentally, in every way that we could hope to be, that we would live our life with intention and kindness, and that it would be of impact and service to others. So let's just take a deep breath and meditate on what is good and kind and just. Thank you for taking this time with me.